Hi there. Right. Today we're making Miles Morales Spider-Man mask from Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. In the next 5 seconds, you'll see a sneak peek of what's about to go down. Let's begin. I downloaded and printed Sean Scrapp's template from his Far From Home mask. I cut the borders of each piece of the template and taped them together like so. Then I glued the template on cereal box cardboard. After that, I lightly scored broken lines and cut out the pieces using my hobby knife. Then I folded the scored areas. I ripped some tape and temporarily taped the part together. Here's how it should look like. Now I can use super glue to permanently hold these pieces together. Oh yeah, you can also use hot glue or any kind of glue you want, as long as it holds the piece together. I joined the upper and lower head piece together. Here's the face shell without the tape. It's a perfect fit. As you can see, this is still flimsy, so I'll have to use fiberglass resin and fiberglass cloth, but I can only find fiberglass mat, so I use that. Almost forgot the supports. I just used some small popsicle sticks to support the face shell together. Now the instruction on my fiberglass resin said with every 30 ml, I should put 0.3 ml hardener, so I use a syringe for that. After adding the hardener, I just stir and stir until all mixed up. Be aware that we might not have the same fiberglass resin, so read your instructions first. I use a sponge brush, but a normal brush is also okay to use here. Here's the fiberglass mat that I was talking about earlier. The fiberglass cloth would have been easier to work with, but the store only have the fiberglass mat, so I used that instead. Also, I suggest you wear a gear like a respiratory mask to avoid inhaling the fiberglass fumes and dust particles, just to be on the safe side. While waiting for the resin to dry, let's make the fabric mask. Now just like with the face shell, join the pieces together, now fold it and trace this to a stretchy fabric. I use chalk cause that's what I have. Then I cut it using a pair of scissors. I've cut this part of the template so I can trace it to the fabric piece. It's just so I know where I should stop drawing the texture of the mask. Now before doing it to the main fabric, I practiced a bit then went straight to the main thing. As you can see, I used a 3D paint for this and used a lot of my patience to achieve a textured mask. Of course, you can get this done by screen printing it to a shop, but I don't have the money for that. Plus, it feels so nice to see the finished product once you put it all together, knowing you made it yourself. I also draw the S pattern in a 45-degree angle. I just look at some reference and luckily I got some pieces to line up with the other ones. Now I use these steel pins to temporarily join this together while I sewed the fabric. You can also sew this by hand. It's just a lot faster to use a sewing machine, but in the previous mask that I did, I already sewn a mask by hand, so it's possible. Here's the face shell after 2 coats of fiberglass resin and matte. I removed the supports but ended up reinstalling the supports for the last coat of fiberglass matte. I traced the lenses that I made to the face shell and cut it using my hobby knife. Here's how it's supposed to look like after I cut the lens holes and added the last layer of fiberglass mat. I'll be using a 150 grit sandpaper to rub up the surface. Then to make it smooth, I'm using wall putty. You could also use wood filler if you want. I used a generous amount of it. After it dried, I sanded it with a 150 grit sandpaper. Once I'm finished sanding the face shell, I drilled some holes using my rotary tool. This is so that it won't be as hot when you put the mask on, and so you can breathe better. I glued 2 pieces of cereal box cardboard, then cut out my lens template. I temporarily taped the lenses to the face shell so that when I glued the remaining pieces, I would have a naturally curved lens. I went ahead and cut 1mm strip from a foam sheet and used super glue to stick it to the lens. Now I just glue the remaining pieces. Like piece number 1, it goes here, and piece number 2, and so on. And I made an identical piece for the other side. Then I did another one last coat of fiberglass resin. While that's drying, I sewed on invisible zipper to the back of the mask. This is optional, but when the resin dried, I hit it with a filler primer. I went inside and sanded the lenses with 300 grit sandpaper and coated it with filler primer once more. Now I'll add some foam sheets inside the face shell so it doesn't press against my face as harshly. You can also use sponges here if you prefer that. Test fit. Wait, pause. I realized that the fabric mask doesn't fit, so depending to your head size or shape, you have to fix the template a bit. For me, I just added this piece, but you can trace these 2 parts a bit bigger so that you can just get rid of the excess later on. I use face shield plastic for the lens and stick this perforated vinyl on top of the face shield. You can use like sports mesh fabric here if you prefer that. I went ahead and traced the inner parts of the lenses from earlier and cut it 3mm away from the edge of the mark so that I have something to put glue on. Now I cut 2.5 by 1 cm chipboard because I have some chipboard laying around. Using super glue to strengthen it. Made a bunch and then I glued some 5 by 3mm neodymium magnets. The lenses can be detachable and you can customize your own lens. I glued the pieces to the face shell where it won't touch my face. Got more magnets and glued it to the lenses. After you're done, you should hear a satisfying click. Now to add the fabric on the face shell. But wait, I forget to add the blue lines on the lenses. Wait, let me fix it. There we go. Wait, where's my web shooters? I made the spring and no spring version of this into the spiderverse web shooters. Check them out. If you made it this far in the video, hit that thumbs up button because that tells YouTube you like this video and recommends it to more people. Also share this video to your friends and family, comment down below any ideas you want me to make, and subscribe to keep up to date with my future uploads like this one. Thank you so much for watching and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.
Miles! Miles! You got a minute?